Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the last session of this Global Sourcing Summit 2026. And this is a session 5, where we're going to have the topic of innovation, technologies, and the new bio mandate. In this session, we will explore the technologies, innovation, and the digital tools that transforming the sourcing strategy and the buyer expectation worldwide. So first of all, please join me in welcoming our moderator onto the stage, Mr. Johan Rollins, the Secretary General, Joy Apparel Association from Sri Lanka. And following by the first speaker, Mr. Matthias Krite, the Secretary General, International Apparel Federation, or IAF. The second speaker is Dr. Chanchai Siri Kasemlet, Executive Director, Thailand Textile Institute, or THTI. Following by Mr. Suthi Gosit Wongsagun, Secretary General, National Federations of Thai Textile Industries, or NFTTI. Dr. Kai Fang Sheng, Deputy Director, Industrial Service Department, Taiwan Textile Research Institute, or TTRI. Following by Ms. Sharon Lim, President, Singapore Fashion Council. The next speakers, Ms. Diana van der Poels, Operating Partners, Go Global Retail, Netherlands. And the last panelist for the session, Ms. Heidi Bangle, Vice President, Product Manager, Management and Strategies, Info Nexus, United States. So we're going to start with the first session, that's going to be the first presentation from Mr. Matthias Krite, of course. And Mr. Matthias Krite is a globally respected apparel industry leader and Secretary General of IAF, who has spent over 2 decades advancing international collaboration, sourcing strategies, trade policy, and sustainable growth across the global textile. So if you're ready, I hand over the seat to Mr. Matthias Krite.
Right. Let's see if this works. Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the last session, but I think a very important one, technology, innovation, and let us dive into this because maybe it's good that I give it a start and just look at the categorization that we have. Because when we speak about technology and when we speak about innovation, we mean many different things. And I was just looking at summing up some of the different areas in which the technology is implemented in the industry. So let me just look at my notes here. Then 1 second, please. Right. So this is not a complete categorization, but just to start us off, what are we using the technology for in this industry? On the one hand, there's productivity. So that's when we are talking about robots. That's when we're talking reducing the cost on the factory floor, smart factories, Internet of Things. Then I think a very important category is process speed and flexibility. So how can we enhance the processes so that the responsiveness can improve and the speed of the whole process. 3D digital sampling is a good example where you don't have like 5 or 6 or 7 physical samples going back and forth. You may have one physical sample at some point, but the other stages are digital. It's just a lot quicker. Of course, and we have no idea where this will end, but AI in product design, product development is taking off quickly, really speeding up and making more flexible the whole process. There's the whole area of textile technology, of course, and you can categorize it much further, but I think sustainable materials, functional materials, but also more and more recycling technologies. And there's data science, which we can also then categorize further in traceability, the data, the software, the systems that help us to know and track where the raw materials are coming from, but also consumer intelligence, so that we know or we can forecast as much as possible what the consumer wants and act on that. As I said, this is not a complete list, but it's important to understand that it's a very wide range. Then I think it's important to understand, to set the scene here, that technology in our industry is often very much ahead of the actual implementation. A lot is possible, but very often it's not really happening. We have long and fragmented supply chains, and these are an impediment to implementations. Many links in the chain, and there is many different companies working in the supply chain, and that makes it very difficult, particularly because the technology must create value. Otherwise, there will not be an investment. But the problem is where the value is created, for instance, because the supply chain is made more flexible and it is sped up, and this leads to better margins for the brand. But if those margins are not shared within the supply chain, then the manufacturers lose the incentive to make those investments. There's no case for investments otherwise. So the technology can, in many instances, create a better margin, a better business proposition. But if the effects of that, if the money gets stuck in one part of the supply chain and doesn't flow to the other parts, then also the technology implementation doesn't flow to the other parts. And just focusing, and this is from McKinsey, just focusing on one example of the use of technology in supply flexibility. Why is this not being implemented more? And there's a couple of reasons which all have to do with the organization of the supply chain, the available knowledge. So there's lack of digital tools. People within the companies are working in silos. There's the prioritization of cost over speed and flexibility. So it's price per piece rather than the net product margin. I think that's a big factor that makes it difficult to really capture that value of the use of technology. There's skills that are lacking. So there are many impediments to the implementation. But once it's happening, it's fantastic. So I gave an example here, digitalization, which both requires and creates better conditions for apparel and textile manufacturers. The gains of creating a more effective and more efficient product development process through the timely involvement of manufacturers in the development process are huge. But in the current analog process, multiple iterations of the product based on physical examples take a lot of time, effort, and hence money. And manufacturers are footing a large part of this bill. But once you get it going, the digitalization creates stronger and more equal buyer-supplier relationship. It allows manufacturers to offer additional value to their clients. Transaction costs of hopping from supplier to supplier become much higher if suppliers are more closely integrated into the product development operation. So I think once it's there, it requires a more equal sharing of value across the supply chain, but once the technology is used, it also ensures a more equal share of value across the supply chain. Making suppliers a more integral part of the product development process helps to create a less linear and therefore slow and inflexible supply chain. A digitalized supply chain is much easier to turn into a flexible, collaborative, and more productive supply chain than an analog one. And finally, to conclude, 2 specific points also that will help the implementation of technology standards. And that is something that is a joint responsibility, I think, that we have as an industry. And just an example again, to accelerate the uptake of 3D digital product development, we need to increase the trust in the quality of the processes. We need to reduce the barriers to implementation. Requires alignment across the industry of processes, the definition of quality. Manufacturers need a clear and standardized definition of 3D digital sample quality. This is, and maybe this is already solved. This is an example from a few months ago. Things are happening, but it's really a joint, collective responsibility of the industry to work on standards that allow the implementation of the technology. And finally, skills. We did a survey a few months ago among many associations in about 10 countries on education, and obviously there are a lot of skills shortages that are related to the implementation of technology, and the most often selected shortage was digital technologies and artificial intelligence, which is not surprising, but it shows that also there's a collective responsibility to really invest in the education for that. So finally, we believe that manufacturers are strategic partners in building a better industry, grounded in knowledge, technology, and collaboration. And I realize I probably went on talking without showing you the other slides, so I'll quickly go back. Well, this is the text I read, but this one I wanted you to see, where you see that the skills shortages that we surveyed, the digital technologies and artificial intelligence was the one that was most often selected. So thank you for your attention.
A big round of applause to Mr. Matthias Kritay, the Secretary General. Thank you for your worthwhile and valuable takeaways. The next speakers that are going to make the presentation is Dr. Chanchai Siri Kasemlet, Executive Director, Thailand Textile Institute THTI. He has been instrumental in driving innovation, sustainability, and industrial transformation within the Thai's textiles sector. So I think you're ready. I will hand over the stage to, once again, Dr. Chanchai Siri Kasemlet.
Thank you. Today, I would like to again welcome everyone to Bangkok, and I'm very happy that we have this summit in Bangkok. First of all, I just want to continue from Matthias that today, the buyer are not only looking for price, quality, and delivery. A new buyer mandate has emerged, and buyers today are asking new questions like where do the materials come from, how much carbon is generated, can the product be recycled, is the supply chain transparent and traceable, or what technology are used to reduce environmental impact. As a result, innovation and technology have become essential requirement for competitiveness. I just want to talk about these twin transitions that's happening in our industries, both sustainability and also digitalization. First of all, about sustainability. Nowadays, around the world, companies are developing new sustainable fibers and circular solutions. I actually have been monitoring how these new fibers are coming from research and development. And I learned this one actually in the AP Expo in Singapore last year about this called Cycora. The Amber Cycle is the winner of the ITMF Startup Award 2025. The Amber Cycle converts textile waste into regenerated polyester fiber and transforming discard garments into valuable new raw materials. This demonstrates how textile waste can become a resource rather than a burden. Actually, in Thailand, we also have inspiring examples. SC Grant has successfully built a business model around textile recycling and surplus fabric utilization, helping SMEs gain access to quality materials while reducing waste. Also, another example is also the Startup Award winner, Simochem from USA. They have commercialization of bio-based nylon 66. As you know that bio-based material become very important because it's renewable and people tend to think about it as less impactful for the environment. So this company have done development and used the bio-based to become a source of materials to produce nylon. So the carbon intense manufacturing from nylon 66 can be reduced by using this new technology. So what I'm sharing with you, I'm trying to say that the sustainability can create opportunities and technologies can help us to identify new materials and also help the buyer to answer to their consumers about the environmental friendly about their products. In Thailand also, we have been working a lot with the bio-based fibers because Thailand is an agricultural country. We have a lot of agricultural waste and all these plants can be used as materials and we can extract the cellulose from the materials. For example, hemp fiber, sugarcane leaves fiber, and pineapple leaf fiber. This bio-based fiber become very important because nowadays people tend to looking for something more plant-based and also trying to reduce the use of polyester, for example. Of course, apart from the sustainable materials, we also looking for a way to reduce the carbon footprint from lower water consumption, reduce chemical usage, higher energy efficiency, and better resource utilization. There has been a development in terms of the dyeing machines. For example, this is a dye cool machine. I learned about this in ITMA. And actually, in Thailand, we have this dyeing machine already in usage because we bought this machine from Netherlands. And this machine actually uses carbon dioxide instead of water in terms of dyeing the fabrics. So it helps to reduce the wastewater. Also, another technology is dry dye. I would like to invite you to visit the Thai Pavilion. We have this technology available here, so you can learn that. In Thailand, we have a lot of new companies who are trying to use innovation to help their businesses. This is also another machine developed by Taiwan, Donggen, And this machine also uses a high pressure fabric dyeing, and the result which we study at YUD, which is the dyeing company in Thailand. This machine can help to reduce a lot of carbon footprint and also use much less water. Of course, other things that related to the twin transition is about digital transformation. We are talking more about digital textile printing. We also talk a lot during this summit about traceability and DPP. So about the information technology as a sustainability enable, information technology is also playing a critical role. AI and machine learning can improve demand forecasting, production planning, reducing overproduction. Smart textile sorting system can identify different fiber types accurately, making textile recycling more efficient. Blockchain technology provides transparency and traceability across the supply chain. It enables brands and consumers to verify material origins and sustainability claims. This is especially important as digital product passports are becoming a key requirement in many international markets. Also, in terms of digital design and virtual production, digitalization is also transforming product development. Through 3D design technologies, manufacturers can create virtual samples before producing physical garments. This significantly reduces sample waste, material consumption, and development time. This company is from Germany, Assist, demonstrating how digital design platforms can connect design directly with production using realistic fabric simulations. This creates faster, more sustainable, and more efficient product development processes. This is another company that is an award winner by Bore from Netherlands, which enable on-demand textile creation through digital design and manufacturing. Another example is SmartTex. SmartTex from Portugal and USA, which use AI-powered monitoring system to detect textile defects in real time and reduce production waste. This company showed that sustainability and profitability can go hand in hand. Lastly, please allow me another 3 minutes to talk a little bit more about research and development in Thailand. Our textile institute have been developing a lot of medical textiles in Thailand to respond to the local demand. Here are the 10 samples, 10 innovation products that we have been working in Thailand. So the next generation medical textile is how to help the patient to become more recovery quicker and wellness. Also in the infection control and surgical safety, and also specialized care and support. Thailand textile industry have evolved from doing a lot of fashion and garments to more of the functional and medical textiles. So these products focusing on the infection control, operational safety, and patient dignity and healing. I just show you some of the baseline textile technologies. We develop a lot of broad spectrum antibacterial materials, also the fluid barrier mechanics, and also the thermal and far infrared dynamics, and also advanced economies. So from this concept, we can develop many new products. For example, this technology is used in the emergency bed sheet. It will help to do a lot of fluid absorption and secretion chill. His long-term bedridden care, we use a nano copper plus suit. This one will help the patient to become less injured from the bedridden. And also the 3D pressure relief pad. This will help to make the patient become more comfortable when they are lying on the bed. There are many opportunities for the medical textile in Thailand, and we have been developing a lot of new products. My last slide is our THTI standard of care. Recently, we have the MOU with the Mahidol University, the university which is the top medical school in Thailand, who has about 12 hospitals. So we've been working with them in order to develop new materials that can be used in the hospital that will help the society, and also using the circular economy concept to reducing the waste from the hospital as well. So thank you for letting me sharing you about all these innovation and technologies. I think that innovation and technology can create new opportunities for Thailand, for ASEAN, and I think our textile industry can continue develop and growth for the future. Thank you.
Please give a big round of applause to Dr. Chanchai Siri Kasemla, the Executive Directors, and to let us know about the roles of Thailand Textile Institute. The next presentation will be led by Mr. Suthi Kosit Wongsakul, Secretary General, National Federation of Thai Textile Industry, or NFTTI. With his extensive experience in Thai textile and apparel sector, he played an important role in prompting industry developments. So in this time, I will hand over the stage to you once again, Mr. Suthi Kosit Wongsakul.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So in this 2 days, we have already learned a lot about the technology and how quickly global changing sourcing change in the 2 days. So what buyer want is more flexibility, they want more faster response, and they want more transparencies. And most importantly, they would like to have the supply chain that they can trust. So the question is, how do we deliver all this in the same time? So the good news is that ASEAN already has the most of all we wanted. So we have factory, we have suppliers, we have technology, talented people. We don't need to starting anything over. We simply need to connect what we already exist and make it work together. So the evaluation of the sourcings, for many years in the past, the sourcing always mainly about the cost. For the lowest cost always one. So we trying to find the cheapest cost all the time. But today, the world have changed. It's different now. Every company is dealing with the supply chain disruption, geopolitical uncertainty, sustainability requirements, and increasing customer expectation. So the result, buyers nowadays, what they're asking different questions. How can you respond quickly so you can adapt when the thing change, or you provide visibility into your supply chains, or we can trust your information which you provide or not. Today, trust and reliability are becoming just as important of the cost and quality. That is why sourcing is evolving. Okay, so how the technology can help the buyer and manufacturer to about this new sourcing era? So every transformation starting from the people. The technology here is not come to replace the workers because we cannot avoid textile still need to have the laborers. But it's here to help them to do their job better, learn faster, solving problem faster, and making better to have the better decision on how to work together. The technology shown on this slide, maybe it's not so clear here. It's just an example of what we have here because we have already many experts here and we are not coming to sell anything. So like smart vision, it can help to checking the fabric 24 hours without tired, so they can do it continuously without mistake. And AI assistant tools is come here to help the worker to learn. Now even the low-skilled worker can improve their work or skill by learning from the AI. And the language barrier also now has been destroyed by the AI. Everybody can understand the manual of the machineries or tools without problems. So AI for them is designed to support people, because when the people perform better, the factory become more productive and more flexible and more responsive to the customer needs. So how about it's working? The trusted data flow with the integration of the data correction, we connect the information together. Think about how many decisions have to make in one day in the factories or manufacturing. Production planning, inventory planning, maintenance, scheduling. Now imagine if everybody in the lines is working from the same trusted information. So planning will become easier. The problem are identifying error, decision becoming faster and more accurate. So that's what we mean by trusting data flow. If we have the trusting data, so everybody have no question and can work at the same source. So it's not really about the technologies. It's making sure everybody have the same vision at the same time. And what do we have to do with the data we have? So we're building a digital blueprint. So imagine of the row of the fabric, every row have their its own stories. Where the material comes from, how it's produced, and what quality check is passed, and what sustainability information is available on this row of fabric or not. So we call that the digital blueprint for the fabrics. So when everyone in the supply chain can access the same information, collaboration will be easier, planning will be improved, and misunderstanding decrease, and confidence increase for everybody involved. So what buyer will get from the value of technology we have is come down to three things: speed, flexibility, and confidence. The better information helps supply chain reporting and respond faster to the market. Connected system help manufacturer adapt more easier, and the trusted record help brand to meet the increasing traceability and compliance expectation. So buyer gain more confident in every decision they make. It's not like in the past that everything have to do by the paper and need the auditor to come and again and again. So what this can do? The ASEAN already have the strength on every aspect. We have everything. We have textile producer, we have garment manufacturers, we have technology providers, we have logistic network connect together, and we have the skilled people all around. So what we have to do now for the ASEAN, not only for one country, is about to connect all these strengths together to be more effectively. And I think for Thailand, we can contribute as a digital coordination hub to connect together with our ASEAN countries, which they can contribute their unique capability, and we work together. We can becoming stronger than any one country can be alone. So this power connection ecosystem will happen. So that's becoming how do we build the future together. The future is not built by the isolated factory anymore, to competing only for the cost, but it will be by the ecosystem working together, where we're moving from the short-term transaction to be a long-term partnership or strategic partners. From this connected operation to be connected network, and the simply selling product to be creating value together. That's where the industry is heading now. And the future, ASEAN has an opportunity to be part of that. So last but not least, we have a final thought. The technology is simple, it's just the tools. What really matters is the trust, really matters is transparency, and what really matters is collaboration. So ASEAN already have the capabilities. The opportunity is now and to connect them together. And if we do that successfully, the ASEAN can become one of the trusted and competitive manufacturing ecosystem in the world. Thank you for your attention.
Big round of applause to Mr. Suthi Kosit Wongsagun, Secretary General from NFTTI. Thank you so much for sharing that to let us know about the most important thing and the key highlights of the ecosystem. The next speakers will be Dr. Kai Fang Sheng, Deputy Director, Industrial Service Department, Taiwan Textile Research Institute, or TTRI. She specializes in the industrial innovations, technologies application, and sustainable development, supporting the transformation and advancement of the textile industry through research and technologies. So if you're ready, I hand over the stage to you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Zheng Kaifang. I work in Taiwan Textile Research Institute. This is my first time to be Bangkok. Thank you for inviting me. It's my honor to share the topic, our digital empowerment, a new area for supply chains, speed, resilience, and precise collaboration. There are three challenges we are facing. Yeah, we are quite familiar with that, such as stricter sustainability compliance requirements, the talent gap, and the geopolitical risk. What are those international brands' expectations for a supply chain? Innovation, sustainability, flexibility, and digital transformation. We talk very much in these days, so I will go directly to the next part. I'd like to show you our experience, how to respond to international brands' expectation. Okay. Okay. For the challenge one, stricter sustainability compliance requirements, our strategies is to ongoing R&D in sustainable and high advanced technology to stay ahead. For more and more requirements, we are transforming from bottle to textile to textile to textile, using mono materials, carbon capture materials, and improving efficiency. But only sustainability is not enough, so our advanced, innovative applications include high-performance outdoor, protective textile, medical textile, transportation textile. Especially, we focus the vertical integration between upstream fiber company and midstream fabric company to develop a small batch, diverse products. What's our total image? According to TITAS 2025, TITAS is our biggest textile show in Taipei. Our total picture is recycling, performance, and customization. Please look at the green area. It talks about recycling and reuse. Before 2025, Taiwan has achieved a certain success of the recycling of bottle, footwear, fishing net, agricultural waste, and industrial waste. By 2025, we also made a notable achievement about textile to textile. Because T2T is more and more important, there are a lot of startups to focus on, for example, TC separation, eco-friendly chemical recycling methods, such as Ambercycle, Cereal, Circ, Carbios, and so on. Actually, the international brands actively collaborate with these startups. And behind the cooperation between our brands and these startups, our synthetic fibers played a crucial role. For example, Xinguang, our synthetic fibers, and FENC Group invest in Ambercycle. In other words, our synthetic fiber companies realized those new recycling technologies, providing brands, fabrics, and apparel made of those new recycling waste. Okay, the next. For our second strategy, for the second challenge, a talent gap in the industries, our strategy is leveraging smart manufacturing to improve human-machine collaboration. Okay. We all know smart manufacturing must involve at first automation, IoT connection, then move to our smart manufacturing by using AI to drive automatic scheduling or other decision making. The influence and the efficiency is improved quite significantly in the whole process. Taking dyeing and finishing an example, the labor hours can be reduced by at least 65%, and the first color matching ratio can be increased from 80% to 95%. Let me give you our GI model. Please record the process from ordering, sampling, and production. What's the biggest problem? It may be how to translate customer needs into our material spec or production parameters. Maybe your customer needs is clear, so you can find a solution from your ERP system or trial and error. If not, you need more and more trial and error, and the cost is higher and higher. Furthermore, your experienced staff maybe cannot translate their knowledge to the younger generation. So the process could be time intensive, fabric intensive, and resource intensive. Now we use GI model to standardize customer needs. That might be adjectives such as rich, relaxed, spongy, or fluffy. Let our adjectives. How can you to standardize, then translate them into material spec or production or parameters? Yeah, so that the GI model we are building, it could be rapid, accurate, and traceable. However, how many answers you can get depends on how many database you have. Taiwan is building a DPP or digital platform. For most small and medium enterprises, they are suffering the data anxiety. They cannot understand the requirements clearly. They don't know how to respond, and they don't have the primary data. So our solution is, again, to use GI model to update the latest regulation and providing them the consultant service, and integrate internal system to collect data to a digital plan which connect to brands. The third, establish a process map to calculate primary data to improve accuracy. Yeah. So the third challenge. For the third challenge, how to face the geopolitical risk, we are stressing our global supply chain resilience. In 1970s, we start our overseas investment. Often our FTAs drive their destinations that result a strong resilience to cope with all kinds of geopolitical risk. From this map, you can find that most of our business concentrate in Asia. In Taiwan, we also strengthen our advantage. For example, leading in elastic fabric, dyeing and finishing technologies, specializing in weaving conditions and customized spec yarns. Our global expanding our capacity by providing our high-end and customized product, we earn brand trust. Under brand requirements, small batch, high variety orders, and shortening our lead time, our suppliers need the solution to short the lead time, cross-time zone collaboration, and cross-region collaboration and traceability. The digital tools must involve our data monitoring and early warning, our integration and digital management and traceability. Let me show you our input flow architecture from our input process and output. The input includes ERP system, machinery, IoT, network, and machine central or center control. After integration and processing, the output is shown on dynamic decision dashboard. Let me show you the real case. Dr. Chen Chai has mentioned it. Thailand YUD company cooperates with Taiwan Textile Research Institute, where I work. There is a smart dyeing and finishing demonstration. The input is YUD company implements a dyeing ERP system to integrate laboratory and production machine data. And the output and the benefits are very obvious. For example, reducing machine changeover and standby time by over 10%. The above transformation and action plans are taken jointly by the government, research institute, and the industry. The government allocates R&D resource and design policy tool. Research institute, just like TDRI, we shift our R&D toward high-end materials and process, then transfer the new technology to the industry. After receiving those technology, our industry optimized, scale up, and expanding globally. Finally, is my conclusion. Taiwan is continue to earn a brand's trust, and now we are inviting semiconductor and IT industries to develop better smart manufacturing to provide our global partner. What we respond to brands is speed, resilience, and precise cooperation. That's my presentation. Thank you.
Big round of applause to Dr. Kai Fangsheng, Deputy Director, Industrial Service Department from Taiwan Textile Research Institute, or TTRI. Thank you to let's learn more about Taiwan industry and perspective. The next speakers will be Ms. Diana van der Poos, Operating Partners, Go Global Retail, Netherlands. Okay, and she brings an extensive expertise in international retail expansion, market entry strategies, and cross-border business developments, assisting brand and successful scaling that presence across the global market. So if you're ready, I hand over the stage to you, Ms. Diana.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I will keep it quite short because the session is already really long, and I would like also to view back to session 4 to come up also with some solutions for the region. And I made this presentation just to give you an insight into the buyer's head. Because in the end, let's say we're selling to all these brands, and what they need from us is real-time data in order to shape their sourcing strategies. So I will just give you a little peek inside their internal process. If that works. This is just an example slide that Heidi and myself made for Vietnam Footwear Show that we were attending last year. And one of the things that buyers lack is real-time trading data from your region. And that's something where all the countries that are present here could collaborate. And also for buyers to understand how the emerging trends are in your market, and also what the demography of your market looks like, and the growth towards medium and upper middle income class countries. So actually also your market potential in that sense is really important to them. And buyers in that sense, they have a lot of internal data on the performance of their own range and architecture and product, but very little understanding of your market and also of potential growth. And then I mean not statistics, because statistics always leap 9 to 12 months behind, but real-time data from your federations and associations. So that's an additional point to our former discussion. Another thing, what we need to understand is that the middle class population by region is also differing developing over decades. And of course, I think there we need to understand that the biggest growth region is your region. And of course, that's also why buyers, and especially brands from Europe and America, tend to be more interested also to trade towards your markets. So this again is, I think, an opportunity to provide them with business intelligence that they are currently lacking. So to add to our collaboration agenda within the region. Now, one of the bigger drivers, and this is just a peek into the boardroom, is what are brands like G-Star, Nike, Patagonia, and all the others, what are they discussing in the boardroom? And basically those are only drivers of performance. So it's about their bestseller management, which of course they monitor with merchandise plans, but also with real-time data from market, their COGS and initial markup corrections, channel management budgets, and most importantly, their sell-through, which is something, if they bring goods into circulation into the market, they actually have no concept yet of the product's success rate. And then again, if the product turns out to be really successful, they also have no means really to replenish that fast. So everything there is related to strategic execution, revenue growth, improved profitability, but also retention of their consumers and the valuation of their company. The landscape in M&A is quite active, especially within the smaller brands, the brands that are 50 million to 250 million. That's a very big market share within the European Union. So these are the drivers in their boardroom. This is an example, it's a real-time example. I can't tell you the brand. This is the analysis I made about their product range architecture and the contribution of products to the total turnover. Now, this looks like an hysterical picture, and I have to tell you that, of course, this gives a lot of discussion in the boardroom, that your best performing product is only contributing 2% to total turnover. And this is where you are confronted with, that they keep on building range architectures with too many SKUs, too many products, too many colorways, and, well, let's say, the forecasted success rate of that product, they actually have no idea. And I've been head of production and product development and design at G-Star. We had data lakes you can't imagine. But the interpretation of that data was always, let's say, the opening of big discussions, large emotional outbreaks, but resulting in this performance. So this is also something with intelligence where you can assist the brands to perform better, because in the end, if their turnover looks like this, it means their margin is eroding. So typical challenges that they face in that sense related to the former slide is that their margin erodes, margin leaks, and their EBITDA and working capital decrease. So, of course, they want seasonless design and profitability, but all the other topics are also related. Like, are these products sustainable? Can we reshore it or nearshore it? How can we repeat styles or improve the contribution of certain styles to the total turnover? And then the other thing is that all brands in European space are faced with market returns. So the average products that end up in finally after, let's say, 6 rounds in somebody's cupboard, we have return rates of between 36 to 42%, and in Germany even 48%. So all that predictability about a product's success is absolutely crucial to a brand. And of course, they won't share this information upfront with you, but I'll showing this to you in order also to adapt your business intelligence towards them. And I really want to thank all the contributors here also for all the AI and innovation within the supply chain, but all the tools that you have developed and at hand could also really increase their business profitability and yours. So this slide more or less summarizes this, because at the supply side levers on the realized margin is basically, of course, what brands are after is innovation, not only on the product, but also in the process, their time to market. Your responsiveness is quite important, and I think that dialogue is improving, and also that collaboration is improving. Of course, sustainability is a mutual concern for both the upstream and downstream side of the market, but then also the execution. And where brands even are successful in bringing good products onto market, a big issue that they have is markdowns. And that's not regulated in Europe, so we can go into sale every period of the year. Apart in France, that is regulated, and in Germany, but all the other 26 nations, they can depreciate products at their likings, which actually erodes their market further. So rather, and I think that relates also to what Matthijs was saying, is it's about the net product margin. And that's also where you come in again to assist them to be smarter. So it's not only about COGS, meaning the buying price at the factory, it's also about bringing it to market, about sell-through and not getting the products returned. So here a lot of collaboration possibility exists between supply nations and the brand side. So from intake margin to realized margin, we just made this triangle to show how the increased sourcing cost can only be leveled out by looking beyond COGS. So not this race to the bottom. And if you look at the left angle, that was the typical COGS focus of brands before, only production, SME, supply chain cost per minute, and not looking at innovation or responsiveness. And responsiveness, of course, if you want people to respond, you have to talk to them, right? So you have to enter the dialogue, and that's actually what's at hand here, that to make products and performance more successful in the future, also the brands need to speak with you, and vice versa. I will run over this again, but these are internal analysis, because we keep on analyzing with merchandise plans, with all kind of, let's say, low make and high make. Is it difficult to make, or is it a heavy lift? Are we going to Bangladesh, Cambodia, Taiwan, or where are we heading? Everything is related basically to a longer term positioning, also for the brands. I will run over this slide as well, but these are the things discussed in the boardroom again, not to, let's say, have the final result of products only contributing 2%. So regardless of all these calculations and, let's say, all that forecasting how a product will sell out, I would say that the integration with the supply chain partners is far more important. And I will finish with this slide. Because, like, if we look at 2 decades back, the 90s supply chain was more about plan, and there were steps that we did in sequence rather than at the same time or at real time. So we had a long, let's say, value chain and a long supply chain. Today, of course, we do it faster, but in the future, we have to, and I think that's also where the potential is for all the regional partners here, is you have smart factories that can help designers develop and design, right? You can provide them with sourcing solutions within the region, not necessarily only your own country. You can assist them with AI planning and management, and of course the logistics, move and sell. So all these different aspects of being successful are intertwined between you and the brands. So I would like to end there. That I think, well, I wanted to give you some tangible, let's say, elements also to work with buyers and assist them in their business intelligence. Thank you.
Big round of applause to Ms. Dana van der Poort. Thank you very much. The next session will be continued by Ms. Heidi Bangle, the Vice President, Product Management and Strategies for Nexus United States. She is organized leaders in supply chain, digitalization, and global trade solutions, helping organizations to improve supply chains visibility, efficiency, and resilience through advanced technologies. So if you're ready, I hand over the stage to you.
Great, thank you. And it's great to join you again today, yesterday and today. It's a great couple days. Good to know and meet everybody. It's been really interesting to see all the presentations and definitely learning and taking a lot away from this event. All right, so for my session, I'm going to talk about the digital supply chain imperative. We've been talking about digital transformation for years, but it really is an imperative, and I think we've been hearing that a lot this week, and companies and associations and industries are moving quickly, and the things that are driving it, all the new data requirements, ESG, all the volatility, and it, you know, companies want to use AI. That means you have to have a digital supply chain. So we're seeing companies in the industry are truly transforming at a rate that we've never seen before, and adopting new technologies and rethinking processes. And really, we're going to talk about kind of the paradigm shift and things that we're seeing. So, you know, talking from kind of a brand perspective and thinking about the operating model has really evolved. So, of course, reliability has always been important. They want to have reliable sourcing when products show up and of quality, but that's just become so much more complex with all the levels of volatility and disruption. So delivering a reliable supply chain is just, the bar is much, much higher, right? Speed, we've heard a lot about speed. It's not just speed to market, it's speed to data and decisions and information. Speed on sourcing decisions, how can I reallocate orders, respond to disruptions? It's at such a level that, you know, companies really do have to digitally transform. Flexibility is a term that we've also been talking about today, which it's so great to hear in the room, because, you know, everybody needs to be flexible, respond to the latest demand signals, be more flexible in trying products, and brands are really looking for their partners to be flexible with them. You can't have this rigid supply chain. It is really a network of partners that has to be flexible. And one of the things we've been hearing a lot in the past year is adaptability, right? Latest tariff, geopolitical disruption. How do you really adapt your supply chain? Use of the new tools in AI, which is really, you know, it's very advancing rapidly. So companies really have to adapt. And then, you know, we talked about it in our session yesterday a lot, certainly on sustainability and trade, is that provability, right? So supply chains now aren't just transactional and how to get goods to where they're going, and they have to prove that they're sustainable and responsible. And so what we are seeing is we're at a paradigm shift now, right? And so companies are looking at how they manage their supply chains, the data and the technology based on this shift. So we've been talking about the need for supply chain visibility for years. That is shifting from just knowing where stuff is, where an order shipment, I need the data underneath. I need the data underneath to prove where it was made. I need the data underneath to make decisions and to be more predictive, right? Take the data and predict when something will happen. So there's a lot on getting data out of the supply chain. We talked, I keep hearing it, which is I think everybody realizes that traceability aspect. Companies are now, brands aren't just dealing with their tier one suppliers, they are getting visibility further upstream. And pretty much everyone we're talking to is doing some level of that. It's really understanding the upstream supply network. So now when they think about supply chains and trade compliance and trade, it's multi-tier. You know, starting to look at not just balancing cost and service, but also ESG's driving decisions. So that's both in when they look for partners, as well as on a transactional basis, where we talked about where sustainability should be part of the operating process and companies want to get there. And what we've also seen is, you know, there's a shift from manual process to AI driven. So if you think about all the new data, all the new requirements, the speed of change, it's really outpaced human coordination completely. So more and more companies really need to use AI. And what's kind of amazing is AI is really advanced so rapidly that we're seeing so much that it's helping really summarize data and giving the insights and really enabling that human-machine collaboration to really make significant differences in businesses and supply chains. And that's really, you know, we've been talking about moving from reactive to proactive, and it's not just about sensing something anymore, it's really acting. And that's another area we see AI helping. It's summarizing the insights faster, and in some cases, actually taking response. And then the last thing we're seeing, you know, and I mentioned yesterday, being part of a supply chain business network, decisions were still very enterprise focused. And now looking at the speed and data required to manage supply chains and enable all these new requirements on ESG and improve overall end-to-end performance, we are hearing let's switch to network. You can't have an adaptable supply chain if your whole supply chain can't really move with you. So it's really about orchestrating networks versus individual silos. There we go. So it's super complex, and I can't remember, someone was talking about it earlier. It's not just, you know, these linear supply chains and all these different connections, but now companies want this real-time visibility and be able to collect data and manage by exception that requires getting all these data connections. So as a brand, you're looking to light up that supply chain. And it's not just connecting for the sake of getting the data and visibility, but it's how do you orchestrate it? So that means connecting, but in a way that, how do you add value to the partners, right? How do you make it more efficient for everybody versus, okay, I'm getting more data, but what do you get, right? So it's a lot of partnership discussion in it. But if you think about 80% of data to run a supply chain is not with one company. It's not with the factory, it's not with the brand, it's with all the partners. So really to enable the speed that we're talking about today of decisions, speed of delivery, more responsible supply chains, companies are looking at how do I connect the single network. Whoop, sorry. And instead of the way it's traditionally been done, and for many companies today, it's really been point-to-point connections, using a portal here, using mainly spreadsheets and emails, and it just doesn't work. So to enable a digital supply chain, it cannot be point-to-point connections. It needs to be a single connection. It needs to be that network-focused. And what we're seeing, we've been talking about silos, and I heard silos, you know, it's within businesses, it's across network partners, and even dealing with network partners, it's fragmented. And what we're seeing is want to break down silos and get everything together. And what more and more companies are doing is how do I manage my whole supply chain digitally? That same order that I'm collaborating as a brand with my supplier is used in the shipping process, and it's used in the payment process. Having those go into multiple systems and rekeying is inefficient. It adds costs, delays, and errors, right? So it's digitally transforming all of that in a way that is making it easier also for the partners and the manufacturers. big discussion is how do we reduce supplier fatigue? How do we reduce portal fatigue instead of having one over here where the supplier's doing their packing and booking their shipments, and over here they're giving the ESG data. Companies are like, okay, if I'm dealing with manufacturers, how do I make it easier for them to provide all the data in one place? And then also, it's a network, so where can they also work with other brands as well and make it easier? So there's a lot of discussion on ecosystems, collaboration, efficiency, and really making a digital supply chain. And what we see is companies will maybe start somewhere with suppliers and they keep adding and adding, because there's so many processes that exist between the collaboration between manufacturers and the brands and manufacturers and suppliers. The more you can put it in one place and reuse and make it easier, it enables more data, intelligence, and visibility for all of the parties. And what we're seeing is it does increase on time and full, and it's reducing the overall cost for everybody, right? So we've seen in other companies, it's not just the brands taking advantage of, the suppliers are actually reducing their operating costs. So it gets back to the discussion we had earlier. How do you think about it in the total supply chain versus a single company? And so before, as I mentioned, we're in a paradigm shift. There's more and more data that's being required and transactions and upfront. I just wanted to share, we did a recent survey, and we're talking to companies about, okay, if you're looking for new suppliers, what are some of the data points you're looking for? We're spending a lot of time talking about sustainability and ESG, and I just wanted to share, this is kind of the beginning of the survey that we did. But I found it interesting. I kind of thought some other things would be different. So, of course, what product specialization you have, that's no shock there. But the next two in line were, capacity and lead time transparency. This is about if a brand's looking for a new supplier. And then what are those certifications, right? On sustainable and manufacturing certifications, certainly, ESG's down there at the lowest one for sustainability, but that's from a ratings perspective. They still want to know that the suppliers are taking the steps to be certified and then getting some of that data later. So it's been kind of interesting to see that, we talk a lot about sustainability. They're looking for the certificates up front and those manufacturing capacities in order to enable that flexibility, that time to market, as well as sustainable supply chains. And then on the expanding data requirements, and we've talked a lot about that in the last couple of days, more and more data. So if you think about the data you're providing the brands today, here's my capacity, here's my orders, my invoices, my shipments, all this data. Now you have to provide all the certification data, information on sustainable data for scores, labor and human rights documentation, real-time production status. Companies are looking to be agile, so they want to know where you are in the order process, to see if there's going to be a delay, but also, can I make changes? Those last-minute changes to meet demand signals, a lot about postponement that helps reduce waste and get to the right product to where it needs to be. We've talked about multi-tier mapping beyond tier one and chain of custody and traceability. These are all things that now the brands are asking their supply chain partners to produce, which is a lot more data and a lot more processes that suppliers need. But they're also interested in doing it in a way that I don't want to make it a huge burden. I know it's a burden. How do we reduce that burden? And so, we talk about this as innovation and technologies, and there's been a lot of other ones talking about 3D printing, things like that. I'm going to talk about just that digital supply chain and how do you transact, right? How do you coordinate networks and orchestrate networks? How do you enable traceability and collaboration? And these are the capabilities that we see. So one is the network. Right, it's been foundational for years, but definitely companies are seeing, I need one place to manage everything with my partners because it's going to enable value for everybody and give that visibility so we can all react in real time. And that was the slide I showed before. So much on AI, and this is, if I went through this slide at this time last year, my discussion would be very different. We've been leveraging things like machine learning for forecasting, predictive ETAs, but with generative AI, and even between what we talked about last year to this year, it's changing everything immensely. We're using it in our development process. It's being used for data ingestion, so for all this additional data you have to provide, the certifications, multi-tier, AI is making that digital much faster. It's turning unstructured data into data. And then also, AI assistants to help quickly synthesize and provide the summary insights, and then agents. So a number of conversations we have now is I have this process, what agents can actually take over those repeat tasks. And that is moving so fast. Again, if I was here last year, the discussion would be completely different. We wouldn't be talking about agents. We'd be talking a little bit about assistance in supply chain and a little bit about data acquisition, but it's really significantly transforming. The pace is unbelievable. And then from transparency and product passports, brands are implementing the 2D barcodes. So now how do I provide my consumer all this rich data about where the product was made, what it's made of, et cetera. And RFID has been used for a long time. It's even being applied at source. But what we're seeing companies say is, I want to turn on that traceability. So I actually want to scan at the factory to help enable forward tracing. And that's also helping with the product passport and traceability. And kind of an underlying technology that's being used in all these things to really manage supply chain risk, to use AI to make the right decisions, is graph technology to understand what's happening in supply chain. So if it's a network, you really need to understand if there's an upstream tier 3 risk, how does that affect the products, right? So that's all underlying technology that's really been coming into play, and that plays into things like digital twins and making decisions because you can actually simulate more having that graph. And so we think about things in practice. So now, as you're a manufacturer, data you're providing your customer, it's all this additional information to expand compliance. So trade compliance isn't just, how did I manufacture, produce the goods, and I'm shipping them? It's what happened up the chain, right? So collecting all this additional data. And if we get stopped for a customs hold, someone needs to go in and provide all that. So what we're seeing is the brands are being proactive, like I talked about yesterday, provide all that data. And instead of putting the burden on the tier 1, collecting it automatically for each tier. So just making it part of that repeat process, which also builds for traceability and getting ready for the product passport. And this is one area, as I mentioned with AI, we're seeing it's kind of tremendous. So this is a certificate, and I upload it, it's data, right? And it's amazing what AI can do. It could be different languages. We're getting data from suppliers and factories, production orders, receipts. So if you think about all the data that's required to provide traceability now, there's no way someone could go and integrate with every system. And no one wants every supplier to have to go rekey the data. So AI is really game changing. So I think it's very timely with all the requirements that are being brought down on the industry. There's no way that those timelines can be met without AI. So it's kind of, the timing is kind of perfect for the two. So digital supply chains, a lot driven by AI. And I have one more slide, maybe not. There we go. So when you put it all together, this is what it ends up looking like. So multi-tier supply chain, understanding where a product was made, what the composition is of, and if you think about it, this QR code, which you can scan that, it'll bring up a mobile app just like a consumer would get, and that's where the market's going, right? That's that transparency that brands and supply chains want to show to the consumer, and all the data is available. It's now just collecting it and making it, but product passports are really driving it. It's kind of amazing, actually. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And please give a big round of applause to Ms. Heidi Bengal, Vice President, Product Management and Strategy Info, Nexus United States. The next session, last but not least, will be held by Ms. Sharon Lim. I have to say that she is the President, Singapore Fashion Consortium, dedicated to fostering innovation, sustainability, and international collaboration with Singapore's fashion ecosystem, help the brand and business to rapidly evolving in global fashion and landscape. So if you're ready, I hand over to say to you.
All right. Good news, no slides. All right, so thank me for it. Thank you, no slides. And there is a reason why. I thank you. I think what I've heard yesterday and today and in many of these forums, there is no short of technology, there is no short of innovation, and there's certainly no short of the will, all right? So why then, after decades, or at least a decade, I've been in the tech business for 2 decades of my life, all right? Why is it that then, at a forum like that, the tension still remains between buyers and suppliers. And the amazing thing is, with all the productivity, all the efficiency, and everything else, everyone is still saying the same thing: I don't make money. What happened? All right. Why? And then I think this is what I want to address. There is no shortage in innovation, but I want to say that I feel that, having been with a lot of my clients, working through with them for years, I realized that innovation is a mindset shift. It starts in the mind. It doesn't start in the what. Tools are there, platforms are there, great technical R&D for textiles and all that are there. But you know what's really missing is we forget to take the steps back to ask ourselves, what do I want this innovation? What do I want this to do for my business? The only thing that keeps all business, the lights on, and every CEO, all right, the only three things that every CEO cares about, all right, is revenue, right, cost, and risk. Today, because of the last couple of years of changes in the geopolitical situation, risk is now right on top, because risk is threatening revenues and is escalating costs. And this is what we have to learn to address. Innovation is not lacking in the tools. What is lacking is in the way we approach innovation, the framework of our mind, our mindset, to come in and ask the right question. I'll give you an example. When generative AI, meaning the ability to create images, like tons and tons and tons of images came out, right? It's AI. It's really good. And AI-generated design went in the hands of some people. Now, the question the company asked, or the question, what was presented by the AI vendor to the customer was, AI is going to make you go faster, and more. It's going to take you 100 times, design. All right, now, so of course, this was the metrics, right? Faster and volume. They implemented the tool. What's the next thing that happened? Is that all of a sudden, instead of giving the ODM, instead of giving their buyers 50 designs, they end up giving the buyers 500 designs. All right? What kind of problem does it introduce to it? It introduced a dilemma that was previously not there. I don't need 500 new styles, because I just need the one that will convert to business for me. I can't sell Hades' slide, right? With the picture, right? With all I just need to expand my triangle. I cannot keep throwing 500 things and hope that one will work. I want technology to tell me, together with my domain knowledge of my unique selling proposition, my core tech, or my core of what I give, capability to give to my customers, I want to know what works. I don't need 100 times more at 100 times faster. I just need to know which one converts. But because no one asked the conversion question, all right, what happened was you had the wrong metrics to go into innovation. Your metrics to go into innovation was fast, but not asking the right question means you go faster the wrong way. And I don't think that's the right thing. So I feel that innovation, all right, is not about buying more tools, right? It's about buying the right thinking. Buy the right way of approaching innovation. These also involves re-looking at how we look at re-innovating ourselves. Yesterday I brought up an example of what we are trying to accomplish and actually it's precisely rethinking this, right? buyers, and this is in the area of sustainability innovation. So everyone is being pressured to innovate more, all right? But then everyone says no one wants to pay the bill for it, all right? And while there are enough innovation in sustainability and all, the problem comes why after a decade there's no adoption. So I looked into this quite a fair bit, and then I realized that it has to do with the wrong framework of cooperation, all right, between innovative startups, all right, investors, the adopters, actually the supply chain is kept out of it, all right, and then the brands. Now, one of the framework that I felt is very broken is this framework of offtake agreements. Some of you know this a little bit, where the brands give and say that use more innovative materials, I'll give you an offtake agreement. You take the offtake agreement, you go get your investors to invest in this technology, and we'll all be happy, all right? Now, what is the problem with this framework of offtake agreement? Firstly, offtake agreements are not legally binding, all right? So what ends up happening is this was something given to the, and because the supply chain was not brought into this innovation to design with supply chain adoption in mind, all right, what happened was this offtake agreement was given. The startups or innovative companies will go to governments and will go to investors, and they'll get a bunch of money, and then they will start to develop, all right? Clearly, the design itself has nothing to do with supply chain. Now, they go into this big, and the money is put in, not given to supply chain partners. And then when the design of this tech, whatever it is completed, it's then presented to the factories and say, now go adopt it. But the factories then turn around and say, yeah, but then it's really expensive. You know, it's too expensive for me to adopt if you're not willing to raise the price. So we go into this bad cycle. So what happens is the 50 million or whatever amount of money that was put into design does not get adopted. What was the problem in the first place? The problem in the first place was just a bad framework. It was framed in a way that did not bring everyone that needed to be brought in, all right, in order for this to be taking off, in order for adoption to happen. Now, I suggest a new framework, that's what I'm testing right now, right? My suggested framework is keep the offtake, forget it. Talk to people the innovators, early on in the process, bring supply chain partners in, meaning factories and all that, to come in early to design with it. Is it feasible? Why is it not feasible? Where's the feedstock? Where should I put my factory? Start asking all these very feasible questions, and then look at the end of the day of what finance is really needed or what's really needed. Then start to redevelop, all right, and start developing this in a way that the adopters are with you right from the start. Now, when then money comes in and you start doing this, you don't worry about, you don't need an offtake, because right from the start, it was designed with win-win in mind. The adopters being part of this, investors are always willing to pump money in as long as there's sales. You cannot have sales if you do not have customers. If you bring your prospective customers right in from the start, and it's not the brand and the retailers, really. They are only the consumers. The customers is really the supply chain partners. Now, this is where innovation can really have an impact and see changes. This is just one example. So I feel today and over the last 2 days, what I realize is the problem is still we don't make enough money, all right? And the way to solve that, I feel, is to take a step back, buy the mindset of innovation in not the what, but the how of innovation taking off. I think that's a very important mindset, and suppliers should actually learn to ask the right questions. to their buyers as well, so that you don't get this top-down approach. 95% of AI investment in the last few 2-3 years itself failed. I'm not the one who said it. It's McKinsey who says it. 95% of it failed. And the reason why it fails is because it doesn't impact, all right, revenue, costs, or risk. So the right question to ask for us is really to have the mindset to, at least the right framework, all right, would be to ask, what does it do for my revenue? What does it do for my risk? What does it do for my cost? And not just focus on one. And being able to re-change the landscape, if necessary, for innovation to really take off and scale. So I leave it at that because I feel that it's not, we are no lacking of the what. There are plenty of technology out there. But what we are lacking still in is the right mindset to address and to approach technology adoption. Thank you.
Big round of applause to Ms. Charlotte. Thank you very much. That's true. Innovation or high technology is not everything. The most important thing is that how we think about that, the perspective, how to bring that into the way that we use. And last but not least is the perspective and the how to approach into the innovation. So in this time, I will bring all the audience into the panel discussions as the session that I think most of you are still waiting for. Okay, I will hand over the stage to you, Johan.
Thank you very much. Before we kick off with the panel, anything from the audience? Anybody has any questions, anything you'd like? We had a lengthy session, but very technical. We covered a lot of areas. We covered the raw materials side. We covered what the brands are looking for. We looked at the practical challenges. Overall, a very wide coverage of the topic, and I think touched on many important points, particularly around management of risk, the number of technologies out there. So if there is anything in the audience, please do put your hand up and somebody will come to you. Pending that, and in the interest of time, we'll just do a few quick questions. I think the first to Dr. Chanchai and to Mr. Sudhi in terms of Thailand. We've seen a lot of presentation of how Thailand is making progress in this space. How do you think Thailand is placed to lead digitally enabled sourcing systems and solutions? Dr. Chanchai?
Thank you for the question. Actually, at this moment, there is another meeting upstairs with the next generation, younger generation, round table upstairs. So these young generation people, they are very hardworking, and I think they're really familiar with the digital technology. So I'm very happy to see there's a new generation of business people coming in to the textile and garment industry, because I think digital transformation make them feel more challenging in a way that they can really use the tools to generate new business. So from Taiwan, you can see that Taiwan also very strong in terms of development of the digital technology related to textiles, because these two industries are very important for Taiwan. I've been working for a long time with the TTRI, and this year we're also talking about the DPP issue. And last week I had a meeting with TTRI to think about how we're going to do this software or program to help these business people to handle this issue. So my answer to your question is, Thailand is very eager to change. We want to move from OEM to ODM. We want to move from mass production with the price competition to more value-adding products and also businesses. So I think if we have the right tools come in, there will be very quick adaptation between the Thai business related to textiles. Thank you.
Thank you. Sudhi, anything you would like to add from Thailand perspective?
Yeah, for Thailand, I think already many companies who are working with the leading brands in the world. So we already adopt many regulation and technologies, transparencies along the way. I think for Thailand, it's a good opportunity. I think Thailand and ASEAN country, they connect together. So Thailand can be like not the leader. I think we should working together to make the collaboration between each strength in each country. So we can make this transparency and the flexibility production to reach the requirement for the, let's say, European country or US market. Then I think this is a good time because this time is very uncertainty things. If we not collaboration, we just only fight for dying alone. Yeah, that's all.
It's very, very true. Absolutely. Dr. Kai Feng, as we said, Taiwan is a leader in the tech and in this, and has brought a lot to the table, both from the textiles and from the innovation space. Where do you see this going? What is the next evolution? What do you think is going to come in this space?
Actually, we are doing a lot of the cooperation between IT industries and textile industries. Actually, there are still some difficulties. For example, just as I mentioned in the GAI model, there are a lot of missing value in the database. So for manufacturing, before they using GI model, they need to review their database. Yeah, and so it takes a lot of effort and lots of time. Maybe some of our manufacturing are suffering the difficulty, but I think the digital transformation is the right way because our government also provides some budget to do this. So we just keep going, cooperating with the IT industry. For us, we just to provide our domain knowledge, and IT industry they are responsible for the programming. So I think there are still some difficulty or challenge to overcome, but we are happy to do this. Yes.
Sure. Sharon, I'll come back to you for the last word, but maybe Diana and Heidi, if you can just give us your thoughts. Are manufacturers investing in the right type of technologies that align with the buyers' needs? We've seen so much happening. This space is huge, and there's a lot that's happening in different fronts, as we see in a number of instances. But do you think we're going in the right direction? How do we align better with buyers' needs and make sure that we're using this technology to the right point? Either of you can, either or both, please.
I mean, I would say just from spending the last 2 days here and listening to the things that the manufacturers are implementing, it is about the digital technologies and providing the information that the brands are looking for around additional ESG data, traceability, as well as enhancing operations to be smarter, more efficient, et cetera. I think one of the keys is, as manufacturers building those things, where we're struggling is the brands are still doing their own specific requirements. So I think there's a lot of discussions that we can have as the manufacturing industries and the brand industries to try to standardize, so that way it does make it easier for everyone, right?
Yeah, I think that's a real important point, especially also if we look at the transparency, requirements and also the EU regulations in that sense not being harmonized yet. You have to understand, for instance, that in Europe alone, there are digital tools for DPPs, but there are 122 platforms already. So that's an abundancy, like Sharon also said, technology is one, right? But we don't need 122 digital product port solutions, right? So that's we feel to harmonize and to collaborate from the start.
And I think that's an important one that came out a lot, and unfortunately, Mumtaz has actually gone to the young person at the round table. But I think that call that comes back that says, the space is growing and it needs to be. We need to have some alignment. We need to make sure that everybody's working in the right direction. I think there's a role for those involved on the legislation side to start bringing things in. Sharon, I know we talked a lot, and I think your idea about the risk, I think, is absolutely key. I think that's the key challenge that we're not looking at, that we're not focusing enough on, and I think that's going to drive the discussion as we go. But just to flip it slightly onto one thing that gets regularly asked, we're all from countries that have large manufacturing sectors, that have large numbers involved in manufacturing. How do you see the coexistence of automation within workforce sustainability, particularly in our parts of the world where people going to work is an important integral part of our industry and the role that we play in developing countries? How do you see the kind of coexistence of automation in that space?
Automation is, it's here, right? And people are not, the fashion industry especially, apparel and textile industry, right, has for at least a decade, across all developing countries, have faced a problem where there are less and less people willing to go into the industry. This is not just, this is in the entire Asian region. All right, and what we've seen is that you have Thailand. I realize that there are a lot of Myanmar people who works in Thailand for the industry. All right, and there's only that limited people, right? So the industry is facing a problem, and this problem will only get more intensified with every few years, with every 4 or 5 years, all right? Let's put it in 5 years milestone. You're gonna see this more intensified labor shortages. So it's inevitable that we move into the automation era. It's just inevitable. It's just by sheer dynamics of what's happening globally, developing or developed countries, exactly the same. So this is where, even in AI, the job of AI or AI, a business properly led AI, right, should lead to human flourishing and not anything else. Because we do face a problem and humans do need help. And so this help of machine automation, human automation or machine with human is just an inevitable thing as we progress. I cannot see this anywhere else in the next 10, 20 years. Even countries, Laos is a small country, and even in Myanmar, all right, eventually all this will catch up. People will go for higher value industry, all right? And this is what we have seen in textile and apparel and textile related. It's just not considered one of those industries.
No, I agree. I tend to agree, and I think this is something that the narrative that is out there a lot is that AI is going to take over our jobs and all of this. But I think, in a sense, whether it's a blessing or not, we still have this 22 billion garments a year. That's not going to change. That need is still going to be there. And in a world where, as you say, we have tightening of labor resources, the role of AI as being the enabler of the industry, and I think that's an important message that we want to take back, is to say that this is not something that's going to threaten industries, that's going to threaten people's jobs. It's the one that's going to actually enable the industry to carry on.
I've seen, we have a data overload and all around, all right? I was with a client last week, big German buying house in Hong Kong last week, and it was the conversation I had went into something like that. We equipped everyone with AI tools, and everyone in the organization has AI tools, all right, to get the insights and to do the analytics and all that are easier, right? Now you don't have to, it's not centralized because you're just able to do it, anyone who's able to do it. After 6 months, his number to me was only 9% of the entire organization actually use the tools.
Wow.
9%.
9%. Wow.
So for an organization that relies so much on analytics and data to back up their decision, why are they not? It's certainly not because it's easy, but why are they not doing it? Because people are not taking a step back to say, is there a better way to do what I'm doing today? No one's taking a step back. I say this, it's not the AI that's going to replace humans. It's just the humans with more knowledge around AI, around digital, around technical that keeps improving are eventually the ones that are going to take over the ones who are not.
Thank you. Well, with that, it's been a long session, a very technical session. My thanks to all the panelists for your insights, your views. And yeah, I think we will hand it back to the MC.
Thank you very much. At all the panel discussion, should there be any question can we raise from the audience? Is there any question from you? Yeah. All right. That was a perfect day today that we gathered today and we look for a future collaboration. In this time, please give a big round of applause once again to all the panelists and our moderators. Thank you very much, everyone. So I invite you once again to step in front of the stage. We're going to take a photo together. Thank you very much for all the panelists and the moderator. Thank you, Johan. Thank you, Matthias, Krite, Kun Chanchai Siri Kasem Lerd, and Kun Suthi Gosit Wongsakun, Dr. Kai Fang Sheng, Ms. Sharon Lim, Ms. Diana Van der Poels, Ms. Heidi Bengal. All of you have done a very excellent discussion for today. I have to say that today we gather a lot of information from you. We are delighted to see our participants presenting of various industries and countries, reflecting the truly international spirits on this event. It's not only the sourcing products and the services, it's not only the textile industry, but we are also sourcing the ideas, sourcing innovation, and sourcing opportunities for a future growth. So after that sets of photo, we will invite more important person onto the stage as well to have a commemorative photo together. So everyone please remain on the stage first. We're going to invite some more important teams to be onto the stage too. Thank you very much. I hope you guys earn some opportunities to engage with experts, exchange valuable insights, and connect with the partners who can help you drive to your businesses forward and increasingly competitive global marketplace. Today is a very good opportunity. It's not only today, but yesterday as well. We've been together, we gathered right here to earn some information from a various country. We have Sri Lanka, we have India, we have Vietnam, we have Thailand, United States, European part. Every comments, every knowledge from every part of this world can combine and we can develop that knowledge into a real future combination. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much. And we come to the conclusion of this Global Sourcing Summit 2026. We celebrate this 2 days of this meaningful dialogue, valuable insights, new partnerships, and shared commitment toward building a stronger and more resilient global sourcing ecosystem. On behalf of CEMS-Global USA, the lead organizer, the International Apparel Federation, IAF, the strategic partners, Asian Federations of the Textile Industries, or FTEX, as a co-organizer, together with the China Chamber of Commerce for Import and Export of Textile, or CCCT. I would like to extend a sincere gratitude to all the partners and support organizations. Our speakers, panelists, exhibitors, buyers, delegators, sponsors, media partners, and support organizations. Thank you and big thanks for all of you. Your participate today and yesterday is really meaningful to us. So at this time, we're going to present you some souvenir to represent Thai and to let you remember that once you have the chance to get and joined in that summit, a very special summit in Thailand. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us in Bangkok. We wish you continue to succeed and safe journey back to your home country. The Global Sourcing Summit of 2026 is now officially concluded. So thank you everyone and have a good time in Thailand.